Alright guys, here we are for Awesome Game Replays episode 30. And on this episode, we're taking a look at somewhat of a legacy platformer. This game has been around since 2004, originally a Flash game. And then in recent years, still being ported to some modern consoles. It's just one of those type of games. Also appeared in other forms on some handhelds as well. Actually didn't list that on the title card here on the DS and the PSP, but it's N, and we're going to be looking at pretty much the definitive version of N++, and all sorts of videos, all sorts of stuff. We'll be learning all about this game and what it's like to master it, and about the mechanics and how it works, and basically everything there is. This is kind of epic because the guests we have on the show are going to be Golfkid and Xela, who are pretty much longtime players of the games. So welcome, guys.
Thank you. So I'm Golfkid. I first found the game on one of those, 10 million Flash game websites back in the day, in the summer of 2006, and pretty much, really, I've just not stopped playing ever since. I've gone to other games for times, but I've always come back.
So, I'm Xela, and you can basically say the same about me, what Golfkid just summed up. I've started with the Flash versions that you could download in 2000, I think it was 7, it's a long time ago. And with a couple years of break, or let's say less playing time, I've played this for a long time.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. And I was kind of mentioning to you guys before we began the show, but it seems like this game is kind of in the general consciousness of people because it was, free to play as a Flash game, and a lot of people tried it out, and I personally, I missed it myself, but I'm definitely excited to learn about the game. And of course, I'm being co-hosted by Extruder here as well, who I think has a bit more experience with the game than I do.
Hello. Yeah, I played the game for a fair bit of time because I've been acquainted it since I don't actually know, probably 2010. Mostly the Flash versions. Never really got to try N+. But we got to mention that N++ does have a legacy level pack, which has a lot of the levels of the previous N releases, so it's not like you're missing out on much.
I see. So, Golfkid or Xela, in your guys' words, what kind of game is N or N++? How would you describe it, and how do you want to bring us into this awesome game for people who don't know, such as myself?
Well, a lot of people, including the developers themselves, Metanet Software, have called N and all of its various sequels, N+, N++, and all that, of just a pure platformer. The basic philosophy is very much a minimalism kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Not just in the gameplay, but also in the entire level design, the graphics. Just everything is almost a case study in minimalism.
It mostly focuses in the gameplay itself. So, for example, it has a story. There's actually a story tab where you can read up what it's all about, and it's a couple sentences, not more. So. Okay,
sure, I'll read that up. In a second, I'm loading the game. Okay, here, story. You are a ninja. Your godlike speed, dexterity, jumping power, and reflexes are all the result of an amazingly fast metabolism. Tragically, so is your natural lifetime of 1.5 minutes. Like all ninjas, you have an unquenchable thirst for gold, a natural propensity for exploring rooms infested by increasingly lethal ninja-killing robots, and a devout belief in N. N, the way of the ninja, is a highly advanced system of spiritual, cognitive, and physical training. It emphasizes pacifism, humility, and the need to traverse a series of 5 rooms before the end of your lifetime, a feat known only as beating an episode. In accordance with the teachings of N, it is your profound hope that one day you will develop the skill, intelligence, and inexplicable ability to reincarnate necessary to achieve mastery of all episodes. Plus.
Damn. That was pretty epic.
And that's the story of the game.
What came first, the gameplay or the story? Sounds like the gameplay might have came first.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. So I don't know, just to kind of launch pod off of that, one of the things mentioned was the way of the ninja exhibits pacifism. So there is no attacking, there is only avoiding. And in addition, you essentially have 1 HP. Any enemy that touches you, you are dead.
Well, pretty much we do cover games like that, like the Don't Touch Daifukatsu, where you pretty much do no shooting, just unless the radiating field of constant damage in front of your ship counts, and you still die in 1 hit. So it's kind of only avoiding as well.
And then
what also...
Oh, go ahead.
What also was mentioned in the story is that you need to actually beat 5 levels in a row, which is called an episode, to make progress. For example, if you beat 4 levels and can't do the 5th one, you basically can't save.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's one thing that we don't see in the intro replay. So there's the time bar at the top of the screen, which is currently cut off. But you have to constantly refill that by picking up the gold items. And yeah, they do have a really satisfying sound when you pick them up. So your time actually carries over between those levels. And maintaining that is important for beating the whole episode, because if you enter, say, level 5 without sufficient time to complete it, then you're forced to restart the episode entirely. But you can retry infinite amount of times as long as it's within
You're in a time
one
limit.
single level.
Then also, obviously, the big thing here as well with the gameplay is that it's inertia-based platforming. So that's that definitely stands out. But yeah, so we got a lot of stuff we're going to be looking at here. Some speedrun videos, co-op speedrun, high-scoring challenges, and other challenge videos. And we actually have a lot of stuff we're going to be looking at. I know you guys did touch a little bit on the history of yourselves as players of the game in the intro there, but unless there's any other things you want to preface about the game, we can probably just start getting through some of these videos.
I think we can briefly mention that you said it runs on inertia.
Yeah,
it has a really complex physics system, which is very hard to learn. So people that start this game usually have a bit of problems at first handling the ninja, or even doing simple jumps, which are looking pretty easy, for example, in the videos running in the background. But as you get used to it, it's one of the most satisfying things about the game. It's basically what it lives off, or why it's considered very good by a lot of people. That it's just so satisfying.
And I know the original Flash version, they actually wrote the physics engine from scratch themselves. And I'm not 100% certain, but I believe they more or less ported with some improvements, still their own physics engine for N++.
Yeah, that is right.
You could say like the core of that physics system like still exists in the modern versions.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
In this version, the physics are very similar to the original N. Basically, after N came, there was also N+ for the Xbox, which was a very different version, looking different and playing different. But with N++, they basically went back to the roots and implemented some tricks that were not possible in N+. And the general feel and style of the game was reverted to the old style and improved upon.
I see. So it seems the first video we're going to look at is the co-op speedrun, correct?
Yeah, we'll do that as the first one, talking mainly about the co-op mode and also what you can do in speedrunning this game and why co-op speedruns are pretty amazing in their own.
Awesome, and you know, you guys can feel free to touch on any of the extra mechanics, that subtleties and whatnot, because I'm sure there are some as far as when it comes to the gameplay and whatnot. So yeah, this co-op run is going to be from fnyt and Kostucha. I think I saw a fnyt in the chat room. That's cool. So we're going to pop on over to the replay card here and get ready for that.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the countdown here is going to be a 3, 2, 1, go countdown. So on go. Didn't tell the guys that before. But all right, I think we're ready to get this thing started. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Passing in 3, 2.
All right, so in co-op, probably the most important thing to realize is that only one ninja has to make it to the exit. And you can even see just on that first level, sometimes they're set up that it's literally impossible for both ninjas to make it to the level.
Yeah, for example, right here, there's a mine, and you cannot pass through it by yourself. You have to let one player explode.
Yes,
Oh.
Suicide is a very common theme in the co-op levels, where one person must sacrifice themselves for the good of the team.
But you, of course, also can, like shown in this level, divide yourself up and achieve different things at the same time while the other guy does something else.
And also many levels like that one, it was a very short level, but timing is important, that you have to do things simultaneously. I don't know, an interesting facet on this is the toggle mines. Once, you know, one person runs over it, it now becomes a regular mine, even for the other player. And also on the flip side, if one person just stays on a toggle mine, it does not become deadly until it is completely unoccupied. So you can actually have one person sit on a toggle and the other person come sit on it while the first person goes off and does something, and still everybody is safe and alive.
That's a pretty cool layout.
So these levels were specifically designed for N++, and they usually all include co-op elements, which makes it absolutely necessary that both players do their job, and not one player can beat the level alone and the other one sitting behind. The original N also didn't have a co-op mode, it was just single player only.
I know the N+ on the 360 did have a co-op mode with specifically co-op levels also. So it's not a completely brand new thing to the series, but it's fairly recent.
You have to point out that this game, while having co-op, it doesn't have the online function, so you have to use a dedicated software like Parsec if you want to online.
Right, or of course just do it actually in person.
Yeah, it's pretty easy because the game only takes 3 buttons for each player. Left, right, jump. Yeah, minimalistic.
So like this level in particular, it's possible for one person to just go and open both the exit and the door at the exit, but it's a very tight thing to get in. And so they failed it once, but then as you saw, they were able to get it again. So there's a lot of levels that you can kind of cheat the co-op a little bit.
So some levels also feature shortcuts, like the way down through the mines here. But they are fairly difficult, and most of those neat little tricks are not viable in a speedrun, for example, because they're just too difficult to do consistently, and every single death costs you so long it's sometimes just not worth it trying. That's especially in co-op the case, where where it's generally much harder to do a run perfect or semi-perfect, just because two people need to do their tasks well.
And this is another example where the two players have to be more or less in sync. You can't have one person just just run out ahead of the other because they're more confident or more skilled. If you do that, the second person gets just locked out and you can't beat the level anymore. So co-op can be a very good way to introduce new players in, but it can also possibly almost scare them away just because it does add a lot of difficulty.
Please, scare friends away. It's not like we were talking about Monopoly or some shit.
Yeah, generally the multiplayer modes in this game are just great to play. That also goes for the race mode, which is in the game, where you race against other people to grab the gold first or reach the exit alive, which is also very fun and also very competitive.
Yeah, I don't think we have any videos of race mode, so I don't see any reason why not to talk about it at the moment. It's a PvP mode, and yeah, any gold you collect adds to your time, even if you die otherwise. And once one person reaches the exit, everybody else goes on sudden death, and you also have to get to the exit in order to build up time in your score.
Sounds fun.
And
one
also,
thing I wanted to ask about, what's the behavior of the rocket turrets? What player do they choose to lock on?
Okay, so any of the enemies that lock onto a player in multiplayer will always go for, out of the people they can see, will always go for the closest one.
Yeah, that's standard.
Yeah, and once they've locked onto somebody, they stay locked on until that process is finished. Whether it's a rocket that explodes, whether it's a Gauss turret that fires a shot, the death balls that we've seen a couple times will constantly change who they're tracking based on whoever is closer, even through walls.
Question about the inertia. It looks like it maxes out the movement speed pretty quickly,
Yes.
or
Yeah,
Fairly
true.
quick. It's definitely not instant.
and then it's just like it looks like you're carrying that momentum pretty heavily as well.
Yeah.
There are also booster blocks which multiply your momentum.
Oh, fun.
They are kind of hard to deal with. So basically it works like this. When you're running on the ground, you accelerate until the max speed, which is after about 6 tiles maybe. So it's not a big part of the screen. And once it's maxed out, you obviously don't go faster anymore. But you can basically have more than the maximum speed every time you're being accelerated by something like the booster pads or maybe a bounce block, which we see in a lot of these levels. And also, in air you accelerate a lot slower than on ground. So especially for high scoring, it's very, very important to accelerate on ground and keep your momentum and not try to turn mid-air because it's just taking forever.
Okay. So this level has probably one of the most cool co-op mechanics, that you need the player on top to trigger. That enemy is called a shove plum. You need the top person to trigger that to let the bottom one actually progress through the level.
And that's also a mechanic used in race mode, but there it's used to shoot those things to kill each other, which is a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, instead of using them to help other people, they are essentially turned into weapons you can use.
If you ever were disappointed how Mario Party wasn't actually a platformer game, sure, here we go. I mean, you can mess up other player in the race mode in several ways. Like when you touch the exit door, you can launch a rocket and then guide it towards the other player.
That is absolutely the most fun part of race mode.
Yeah.
But I think to go back towards just the general physics and momentum inertia type of deal, the fall damage is actually more of just straight impact damage. It's not just falling. You can die from running into the ceiling. You can die only when being accelerated by something else, like a boost pad, a boost tile, or a launch pad. You can also die against a vertical wall. But
just from moving too fast into walls.
Yeah,
no.
And the kill speed is always based on the perpendicular velocity to whatever surface you're hitting. So that's why you can fall the entire length of, or the entire height of a map onto a slope and still live, because you're landing on it at an angle.
You need the
And
slope,
a vertical wall can only kill you when you use a boost pad. That's the only possibility. By just running, you cannot die to a wall.
Well, those are some like rules that you kind of learn as you play, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
those are some of the cooler enemies, evil ninjas. For those of you who are thinking of Celeste, no, N got them first.
And an interesting bit of this in co-op, even your partners, evil ninjas, will kill you if you run into them. So you don't have to just watch out for your own, you also have to watch out for your partner.
Where are those evil ninjas coming from?
There was
The spawn points.
Yeah, there are specific spawners.
You touch them and they activate. They're either one-time use or they spawn ninjas continuously until you finish the level.
Oh, here we go,
Well,
lasers.
The technical way that the evil ninjas work, each spawner only ever spawns one ninja, but you can stack the spawners. So a lot of times, they will have spawners, just a whole ton of them stacked.
I see.
And every single evil ninja is repeating what you do 2 seconds after. And the next ninja is 2 seconds after that ninja, and so on. It basically stacks you.
They're coming after you because they're your ghost.
Yeah,
pretty
much.
I mean, they're not moving on their own. They do what you do, so you're always it's always your fault when they hit you.
Yeah, it's funny.
The most fair enemy in the entire game.
Along mines.
Isn't it like in the fighting game Budokan for DOS, there's the message that winning 1,000 battles is not the greatest skill, beating yourself is the greatest skill, or something like that.
That does sound appropriate.
So let's talk about speedrunning this game in general for a bit. So this is a speedrun. It's a co-op speedrun. So they are obviously trying to finish the level as fast as possible. when you play solo, you cannot speedrun the whole game. With this co-op speedrun, this is the same. You cannot play all the levels because this game has just too many levels. It's more than 4,000 in total. About 2,001 or 500. I don't remember
Yeah, that's
exactly.
insane.
Yeah, around 2,500 just in the solo.
Yeah, so
Just as a rough.
Those are
amount.
like user created and also official, or are those all official?
No, that is all official.
Oh wow, that's cool.
every level we're showing here today is official.
Oh wow, okay, that's a lot.
Yes.
It's literally thousands. So
The
that's
game was
why-
built to last ages.
They marketed the game as built to last a lifetime.
Nice.
Oh, also the game that you will never 100%.
but people did.
Because people can.
Yeah. So that's why you never speedrun the whole game. Instead, you speedrun rows of the game. You can do columns too, but generally people do rows because they are more fitting in length. So that's usually 20 episodes, which is 100 levels in one speedrun. And most of those take like 20 to maybe 40 minutes.
Okay,
When you
that
do
works
it well.
out.
Yeah. Another note is that there's not really any sort of any percent category because the credits are just an option from the main menu. You don't ever get to credits by playing the game.
So the any percent is warp to credits 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
The game never ends.
With that.
gotta get those frames. One frame finish. Anyway.
And one thing these guys have to deal with too is that you have to manage level transitions. For normal levels, it's not a problem. You just press the button a couple times so the next level comes up. But every time you finish an episode, you have to actually maneuver to the next episode, which takes a bit of time, which makes difference with so many levels in one run.
A little menuing. I know, and then I noticed like the gold fills up the timer. Then
Right.
I think we touched on that briefly. Just
Yeah,
noticed
so
that
you
myself.
you can see then as we go through once you finish a level, whatever time you finish with is what you start the next one.
Oh, I see. It carries over. Oh,
Right,
okay,
it carries
nice.
over within an episode.
Oh,
so
so
on-
every 5 levels. Okay,
And the
gotcha.
episode is 5 levels, yeah. I noticed that during the intro part.
Okay, good to know. So that's like your health, which is affected by the gold and your speed. Neato.
Right.
Quote unquote health.
So in speedruns, most of the time, you don't ever have to worry about that, especially if you're
Yeah.
doing like the intro tab, where you only play in level mode, which means you always start with the 90 seconds at the start of every level.
So, do the players really have to collect any amount of gold that's not directly in their way?
In a speedrun, not
Never.
usually.
No, I'd even say never.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I don't
mean
know
this
of a single
category.
one where you have to. In every category.
But
When you
casually, it'll
speedrun
be
something,
definitely a
you play it.
consideration.
You played so fast, time is never a second, never a problem.
I see.
It's usually for newer players.
Gotcha.
Especially since as you do a speedrun, you do generally naturally collect some gold anyways.
Been noticing that. There you go.
Or
both
for the secret stuff. There's
going through the
also
mines
a problem
there.
with time.
talked about that earlier.
And sometimes you just get unlucky with how your limbs fly after you explode and you can't actually finish the level.
So is
They
this
just were locked out of this
are
level.
these two players, are they playing locally then together? Or is this
No.
online?
No, this one is online using Parsec.
I see. Is there input lag as far as when you play online, or does it feel pretty good?
It very much depends on your connection to each other, just straight physical distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what it is for this particular run.
Okay. They seem to be managing it.
Yeah, fnyt says it was just a few frames.
Okay, not bad.
Which really doesn't sound that bad, but it does still take time to get used to.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm guessing the game itself responds very quickly.
Yeah, and just the general movement, especially when you're trying to do, a speed run at a high level like this, you still need very precise inputs. So even a couple frames of input lag can be enough to completely screw you over.
Yeah, it seems these levels have been slightly on the tamer side, but I'm sure we're going to start seeing some really precise stuff later on.
This is a speedrun of Aero, and it's the easiest.
That's the
and
first
the difficulty
row.
of the episodes... Yeah, the difficulty of the episodes is marked by the letter. It's from A to E, and later on there's some spoiler stuff that we'll talk about later.
So basically, aside from the introductory levels, these are the easiest co-op levels.
I see.
Yeah.
Good feel for the game here.
Agreed.
And they're not that easy. So this game is hard.
Yeah, like I've seen, sometimes I just lurk on Twitch to look at, if anybody's streaming this game, and I see some people doing intro on co-op, and they struggle with some of the most basic movements because they're just not familiar with it, and they can't even get past intro.
If you're not experienced with inertia physics at all, I can see this definitely being difficult for a new player.
And the guys playing this exact video are two of the best players, so they usually know how to move.
Making it look somewhat easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these players is one of the 4 people in the world that have 100%.
And there's only 4 out of
2,000 plus levels. Epic.
Actually, the game has a completion percentage in the profile page, and you can check your stats there, and there are over 10,000 points you can get in this game.
Oh, how long does that 100% run take?
Long.
500 hours.
What?
700
so it's
hours?
Is it segmented then? Or you can't do that when sitting, obviously.
No.
So it's you're kind of timing yourself over each sitting.
Nobody has done that so far.
Yeah, the 100% run.
500 hours. That's too many hours to stay up for a human, unfortunately.
I've attempted it a bit more than a month ago, but I'm at 25 hours and I'm not even done with half of it.
I suppose, you could do an endurance run or just try to do as many levels in one sitting as possible. Not recommended.
No, definitely not. The longest speed runs in this game are, I think, about as close to an any percent that we've come up with. And those are, one of them is 5.25 hours, and the other one is, I think, 6 or maybe 7 hours.
Jeez.
And they still only play a rather small percentage of the levels in game.
Right, and I think those are maybe about 20% completion.
All right, let's return to our co-op run, if we can.
Yeah.
So, what are the common tactics the players use to coordinate themselves? How do they communicate usually?
Usually just talking. If you're playing in person, you can clearly just talk to each other.
No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Usually you plan what you do ahead, at least the general strategy. Most of the time, especially in speedrunning, it comes to who can get to the exit first, and that guy's speed matters.
Yeah, sure.
So usually one part is longer or shorter than the other.
Aren't there some levels where you really have to communicate to each other, what are the cues, the timings?
Yeah, there are some of those. And sometimes you can especially if you're just going for like a simple completion, you can just get yourself set to where you're at the point to make that timing and just kind of 3, 2, 1 go, or you can have it planned that one person usually gets there first.
Like have a designated leader type of thing.
Right. Well, and most of the time it's like the level is designed such that one person will naturally get there first.
Oh, okay, sure.
The pilot and the wingman.
For example, on this one, the right side is shorter than the left side.
Is it mostly player one does most of the finishing first?
It's pretty well split.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. In order to really complete co-op, both players need to be good.
Oh, nice. There's some coordination here.
Or you can also swap the controllers.
Well, yeah, you can do that.
Ooh.
So one of the other ways to coordinate like that is if there's a section that you need to go through at the same time, and one person gets there first, you can kind of set up and say, okay, I'm going to get there first. I'm just going to sit here and wait. When you get here, just go and I'll follow.
Like wait 2 seconds or something.
Well, no. The trigger for it is you get there, you just keep going full speed ahead, and I'll wait for you since I get there first. And whenever you get there, that's when I go.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, which I think is kind of a little bit what they did there. I'm just.
Yeah, who's who in this run, by the way?
That's a very good question.
I'd say white is fnyt, but I'm not exactly sure. Oh, he said he's white, yes.
Okay, cool.
So fnyt is white and Kostucha is orange.
I'll make a note on the stream there real quick.
But I think it's finishing in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're getting about ready to start the last episode.
Yeah. Only 5 more levels after this.
That's actually a precise jump to get through there. I think.
Yeah.
I didn't pay close enough attention. Oh, this is probably my favorite new mechanic. Of the player on the bottom has to move the bounce block with their own body to get it in range for the top person to actually be able to use.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty funky.
That's where teamwork and timing really come into play.
And this level uses the booster pads that multiply your speed. You can really see the ninjas going fast. That's a pretty good feeling to fly over the whole map.
Yeah, I think it's one of the cooler features introduced in N++. I don't know if they were in N+.
I believe there's something kind of similar in N+, but it's been a long time since I've played that.
It's at least new comparing to the old N.
So this has a little bit of that, a rocket will always fire on whoever is closer when it's ready to launch. And you have we have one person just taking aggro on the rockets. The other one can go in without having a rocket following directly behind them, blocking off their exit.
So
that's
they basically
pretty cool
just
idea.
Change the distance.
All right, and that was the first run.
Yeah, this is the first speedrun.
Yeah, want to say thanks to the N++ community for providing us with the footage for this episode and showing up here.
Yes, it's pretty fun. All right. So next we've got the challenges video.
Not yet.
No.
No, not yet. Like there has to be the tricks video. So
okay, we can.
Bell has recorded it for us.
That's what you want to do first? Okay.
Yeah, I got the challenges video on my end. I think we all got it by now.
So we are doing the challenges video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We're a professional outfit, guys, I swear.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the tricks video, and this would explain the stuff about the game. So previously, we were just talking shit, but right now we are actually in depth for all the mechanics and the advanced stuff. So that's what half of you are there for.
Yeah, and I'll xela, since you did the recording of this, you know what's coming in what order, so I'll just let you kind of take lead.
Wait, so we're doing the showing tricks video? You guys are confusing me.
I think I'm not sure.
Extruder.
Yeah, I mean,
showing tricks at FLV.
Yeah, showing tricks.
All right.
Showing tricks.
All right, that's what we're doing.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll give us a countdown then, and let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, go.
We might want to watch this one multiple times.
Yeah, it's rather short. So basically, I was recording some of the most used tricks that you can do in N++ on a rather high level to do the secret stuff in the game that we're covering next, or the, for example, high scoring that comes after that. It's also used for speedrunning, but only parts of it. For example, right here, you can see that the ninja can't jump through that because a regular jump is too high and would hit the mines. But there's a so-called low jump, which you can use at the corner to pass the mines without dying.
Oh.
It's basically run at the corner at some speed, press left, so the other direction, and jump at the same time, and hold the running direction again. So like do a small backwards jump at the exact time to do that.
I was meant to ask, is there like variable jumps in the game, like hold jump button you go higher, or is there a low jump from so you have to do like a probably a quick tap as well as go to the edge there?
Both,
yeah, there is a minimal jump height, but that's still too high to survive the mines overhead there.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, that part that showed before was a double jump on the bounce block. Basically, if you jump at the right time at the bounce block, you cannot get the gold, cannot get high enough. But if you fall down and press jump twice in the same in a good timing, you can get a lot higher, almost double the height.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things in the game that I like to do myself.
Yeah, so the way that one works is you jump off of it pretty much right when it starts to spring back up, and you get not just your jump momentum, but also the momentum from the bounce block coming back up. And the bounce block keeps coming back up after you jump fast enough that you can land on it again and jump again to get even more momentum.
Oh, I see. It's like a double jump on the block as it's coming up.
Right.
Okay, that's neat.
And you can also do that on the sides.
So what I'm currently doing is a bounce block corner jump where I jump on the left upper corner on the bounce block and do a corner jump to get additional speed, which gets me high enough to get the gold on the top, the left gold on the top right.
Oh, weird.
It's a rather hard trick and only rarely used, only in high scoring. There was, for example, that was it.
You have to get you're like just over the corner.
Yeah, it's very precise.
Newer technique. I think it wasn't in the game before.
No, it definitely was not.
So how corner jumps in general work is that you hit a corner of a block and you're basically in between the tile for a small time, and then you press jump and get propulsed forwards faster. So you can do that by jumping up, you can do that by falling. It's always giving you more speed and more height. It used to be a very advanced mechanic in the original N, but it was made a lot easier in N++ due to the adding of a frame buffer for inputs.
So basically, you could do it. You're saying on any corner.
Yeah, any corner, as long as the actual landing on the corner won't immediately kill you from fall damage, you are able to get a corner jump off. You're right.
Any corner, any angle. That's pretty cool.
Yes, and depending on what angle you come in will determine what kind of jump you get.
Yeah, and it's not a trick, but it's a neat thing. You can, when you have a small tunnel like this, you can press jump basically as fast as you want and propulse yourself upwards to insane heights. It's called chimneying or chimney jumping.
So one thing that we did kind of skip over, the launch pads at the very bottom, they give you just a jump off at a normal height, but if you press jump on the frame that you land, it gives you extra height. And that also works, it just gives you extra momentum. If you press jump on one that's located on the ceiling, it will actually push you down faster by jumping. It's kind of weird.
That works for every direction.
Right.
It's a new trick in N++.
And then,
so there was a couple more things that we missed. For example, on the right side, I did a slope double jump.
We should restart the video right now and then go through all of it again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is also basically the end.
All right. Back to the start here. 3, 2, 1, go. So it seems like that's kind of like a theme of the mechanics, is doing those jumps on the corners. Like you can do that in a lot of different ways. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, let's say that's the main trick mechanic, the corner jumps in different spaces and varieties.
Yeah, it sounds reasonable to me. It's probably, I don't know, it's a toss-up between corners and bounce blocks on which is more used. I think maybe corners just because they're in every level.
I'm guessing the game has like multiple angles of slopes too, so you have to learn that as well, or is there just like a certain number of angles?
there are many angles. You can use them in your level editor. Just pick up the slope.
I see.
Yeah, there's really 3 different levels of slopes. There's a 45-degree slope that goes straight from corner to corner, and then they have 2 different ones that go a half tile slope, either a shallow where it goes from like the bottom half to half, or from the bottom to halfway up, or it's a steep slope where it travels halfway horizontal from the left edge to the center.
Yeah. So to recap how the double jump works, you have to let the bounce block deviate from its original position, then press jump to let go of it, and then once the bounce block reaches you by its own speed, you press jump again because you are contacting it, and so you gain twice the velocity.
Correct.
And the thing with that is, if you hit the bounce block from the top at a reasonable speed, like at almost full speed that you won't be dying, you have to do the double jump fairly quickly, like tap 1 jump and maybe a 1/10 of a second later the second jump, or maybe a 1/8 of a second. But if you fall on the bounce block with only little speed, you have to adjust your tapping speed, which, for example, you need to wait a 1/4 second to do the second jump. And you will also get less speed by that. So it's basically a thing one has to learn.
Yeah, get the feel and the
easy.
timing and whatnot. And...
What's BBCJ?
Bounce block corner jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use lots of acronyms just because typing out the full name in chat places it's just too long.
Yeah, also, I'm not sure if we've covered that before, but you can use the slopes to do multiple jumps. For example, if you have a half tile, a 45-degree slope next to a wall, you can do a triple jump, which is also often used in high scoring, where you jump on the bottom near the slope when running at it, jump on the slope again, and then jump on the wall again to get a very high speed, which covers
doesn't
like
intro
more than 50%.
level mention that actually?
Yes.
The triple jump.
Yeah,
Like
they do.
it even has the goal to show the player at which places he should press jump.
Yeah.
They'll try,
Yes.
to, they'll try to teach you that stuff.
Yeah,
There's
in the intro level, it gives you a lot of space to do that, but you can do it with even just a single 45-degree tile.
Yeah, so we see the shaft on the bottom right. That's the chimney.
There you go.
Yeah.
You clearly see like the momentum build up exponentially there.
And
Yeah,
I'm
but if you
doing
go too
6
fast,
jumps there.
you'll end up being stuck in the ceiling and die.
So if I put a ceiling at the middle on the right, I would die there because I would be hitting it with too much speed.
And how do you go through those closed doors again?
There's a very, very small timing when you approach it, that when you press space, the jump button, you will get through it. It's very, very tiny frame window compared to the original, and where it was a bit easier to do.
What's OJN?
That is a specific type of jump that uses the input buffer that was found fairly recently. That is, you tip over a corner such that there's nothing you can wall slide on afterwards. And you use the input buffer that allows you to actually press jump about within 2 frames after leaving the surface. And you tap jump to be able to get back up onto the corner you just left and jump again off of the corner to be able to go higher than you would if you just stood on top in the first place.
Also, what I did here was using the double jump technique on the side of the bounce block. That's possible too. And on the side, you even have the advantage that you get mostly upwards momentum, so you can do more jumps easily. For example, I did a triple jump on the side of the bounce block to go over the other bounce block.
Yeah,
you can
I just
see it right
replayed
now.
that a few times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a triple jump. A normal double jump doesn't get you over the bounce block. And even a quadruple jump is possible, and a triple jump from the top. But that's 2 things that are
Those are
so hard. I've not done either ever.
I think those are nearly frame perfect.
Yeah, only a few people can do
in
that.
both setup and execution.
Neat.
So basically, these are not all the tricks in the game. There's probably twice as many at least. But these are the most common, especially double jumps and bounce blocks are used by every experienced player basically, and
Yeah,
corner
like me.
jumps too.
It's like your fundamentals here.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, double jumping is pretty useful because saves you a bunch of time. Like there are shortcuts in the levels.
Also, what's interesting to know is that a bounce block double jump is, I think, never required in the whole game, not even for completing everything, as far as I can remember, the developer saying that.
Oh, wow.
Corner jumps are, though.
Yeah, I need to pick that up, definitely.
And you can basically do corner jumps on every single corner on a bounce block, and every single corner on a thwomp, on a shove thwomp, so on different enemies in general. Everything that has space to move, you can do a corner jump if you hit a corner. And it's hell of a lot fun.
Awesome. Should we move on to the Stitch to Challenges video then?
Yeah, challenges. So there's this one thing that's considered a spoiler, but once you play the game, you start to notice really strange things in the levels. Like, they wouldn't normally make sense within the game design. Like, you would see particular toggle mines on the ceilings in the places where you would never expect your normal playthrough route to go through. Or just some other objects that are just basically out of your way, and they don't even like consider like part of the picture of the map, or just pretend to be some kind of image. No, they're just there. And you don't guess what they are for. And that's what the challenges are.
All right, well, I'm sure you guys will comment more specifically on that as we get into the video here.
Well, yeah, after you complete the base game, there's a fair bit of stuff to describe what a challenge is. There's the code system behind them. So in a nutshell, it's a way to make a level play through in a different way, which is not obvious.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover there.
Yeah, it gives a lot of replay value as a newer player. To get full completion, you essentially need 3 playthroughs of the game. You get your first completion is just beating all the levels. Your second completion is going back and getting all of the gold that you missed.
But that one is easier in a way. You can collect all the gold, not necessarily in a one episode try. You can just select the individual level because you unlock them and collect the gold.
Right. And that still, even though it's much harder, the developers have even gone on record as saying that all gold they consider as a new game plus difficulty. And it's not intended to be for your first playthrough. It's still much easier than all of the secret challenges. Much easier.
So basically, you could say...
But then completing all of them.
You could say then that from completing levels to all golding them to doing challenges on them, the difficulty rises to, let's say, a factor of 10. So it gets ridiculously much harder.
So in this video, you've compiled a variety of stages, as I understand.
Right. So just as a brief outline, I guess, before we completely start flying through, because a lot of these clips are very short. The challenges are you either collect everything of an object in the level, or you avoid everything of an object in the level. And there can be any combinations of gold, toggle mines, evil ninjas, open doors, so doors that open when you hit the switch for them, and trapdoors.
Yeah, those are trapdoors. Yeah. Others.
Yeah, trapdoors are the ones that close when you hit the switch.
Oh, yeah.
So there can be any combination of those 5 in any combination of get all or get none. And
so
the notation in the game is G --, would be avoid all gold, and G++ is get all the gold. And it goes that way for toggle mines, open doors as O, closed doors, trap doors as C, and then evil ninjas as E.
So generally you have to figure that out by yourself. Most of the time you only get the length of a challenge and how many challenges there are, but you have to figure them out yourself if you're not looking them up by doing maybe a challenge or a part of a challenge only. And if you succeed, the door even gives you a hint by changing the color when you get into that, and you'll have that challenge unlocked. It will show you what it was. And if you unlock the different parts of a challenge, you can basically figure out what the challenge total is and do that. Or just blindly attempt it at first and hope that it's the challenge you want to do.
So you're saying you have to freely try to do the condition in the level in order to unlock other levels? Is that what you're...
Well, we're saying in order to... So to back up just a little bit, because I guess we kind of skipped it. In order to unlock the challenges themselves, there are challenges in the N++ tab and in the Ultimate tab, and they are separate from each other. You need to hit the same requirements for each tab to unlock that tab's challenges, which is complete the E row of episodes and have 25 episodes with all gold on all 5 levels.
So basically, when you've met those requirements, you unlock the possibility to do challenges or to see challenges in general. And from that point on, every level in the respective tab that you unlocked it in has a challenge, or at least one challenge. It can be up to 6.
For every single tell you then.
Yes.
You are only able to see challenges on levels that you have collected all of the gold on.
Gotcha. So
if you don't have all the gold, you do not see the challenges, but you can still complete the challenges. You just won't see any notation of them.
Okay.
And what do you do challenges for is an important question. So, basically, because it's fun.
So
also to get...
Yeah. Sorry, I might be cutting you off. Yeah, they are fun. They give completion points towards 100%. And every level in the M++ and the Ultimate tab has at least one challenge. If it has, and that challenge is always considered an exclamation point challenge. Any additional challenges are question mark challenges. There are, for both the M++ tab and the Ultimate tab, there are an entire new tab of secret levels. 1 per episode. And to unlock a secret level, you need to complete 2 of the exclamation challenges in the episode.
So that's
too meta for us.
That's pretty intense.
Those are basically the first challenges in every level. So you have to take an episode and complete the first challenge in 2 of the 5 levels to unlock the secret level of that episode. That's the essence of it.
Right. And then those secret levels also have their own challenges.
So that makes 120 secret levels for the N++ tab and 120 for the Ultimate tab, which you can unlock through the 120 episodes.
It's all about just trying to get that completion percentage going. I mean, you don't even need to you can just explore them pretty much any way you want, right? I mean, at that point, just kind of pick which levels, I guess. And then unlock stuff and go back and forth. Sounds pretty fun.
And it's basically a job for a lifetime because it's so much to do. Over 10,000 completion points in all modes.
God.
Yeah, that's a lot to do.
So I think that's the good background to go ahead and start the clips.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah.
And
then as for the people playing these challenges, is it various players, or what's the deal with what's
there's various players. We have challenges from myself, some from Xela. This one that's going to be first is from sunruibt. I think he's a Chinese player, and I'm not entirely sure how to say his name. We also have clips from AB777. Hitfreezy, MoleTrooper. I know I'm forgetting somebody.
Okay. Well, I showed most of the names on the screen as well, but just so that we're aware that those are some of the players there. I won't go out of my way to indicate every. We don't have to go out of our way to indicate every player, but now that we know, that's good enough, I think. Okay.
So one last thing. So just to reiterate, those are the levels that are in the base game, but you complete them in a secret way.
Right, in a way that is different from what you would be expected to do in a normal completion.
For example, the level that you see in the screen, there is one of the first levels. It's really not far in. Like first 10 levels, I think. And you have to complete it in an entirely different way, which makes it quite challenging.
Awesome. All right, let's jump into it then. Got a half hour of this goodness. All right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so this first challenge is avoid all of the gold and collect all of the toggle mines. There's only 2 toggle mines, but they're in difficult positions.
Yeah, the bottom right is kind of annoying because if you slide down there, you easily get it and survive. But if you jump up again, you'll die. So you need to move a bit right. And moving in the space of between two mines is.
They were. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, there are no hitboxes in the game, not for the ninja at least. It's basically a circle. So it's a distance to objects, not a hitbox.
That's pretty cool because most of the shmup games that we cover, they use boxes as hitboxes.
Saying the hitboxes aren't boxes, they're circles. I'm not sure I'm understanding that that explanation.
Yeah, yeah. If you wonder, they're circled, not boxes.
Yeah, we have to show really fast what's the challenges for each of those levels. Just some of the examples of what the challenge is.
All right. So this one is collect all of the evil ninjas, which are hidden behind the exit. So you have to avoid opening the exit in order to collect all of the evil ninjas, and then backtrack back to the exit while they're all chasing after you.
Damn.
So normally you would never get those ninjas ever. On this one, for example, you have to activate all the mines and
doing such things.
Not activate any switches which are hidden behind the bounce blocks. You could just barely see it right now. So it's often that you get to not use the most obvious part in a level 4 challenge that you have to decide or invent new ways to where to go. And for example, that was a reverse corner jump, getting some speed. So the player, which in this case is Golfkid, just used one of the harder mechanics to deal with the problem that he can't move everywhere.
Yeah, I remember this challenge took me a fairly significant amount of time to be able to get. That landing, I believe, if I had landed straight on the ground, would have actually been a death. I managed to clip just the very corner.
So a lot. Yeah. What do you want to say?
I was just going to say, yeah, this particular challenge is very simple on the outside. Just avoid all of the gold. But it's a very precise diagonal jump to get past every single corner.
Tricky.
What a lot of these challenges, or most of the challenges, have in common is that you need to play the level in ways that you have not played it before, that you have dodged stuff that's right on your way, or that you have collect stuff that is not on your way, like the hidden evil ninjas before.
Yeah, every gold is poisoned mushroom.
Yeah, and most often it is that you have to not collect gold. That's, I think, the most common challenge.
Yeah, that really is. This one is collect all of the gold, but none of the toggle mines. And
also not the switches.
No, the switches are irrelevant. Just avoiding them because it's easier. If you open the switches, there are now mini drones that circle the perimeter of the level. So you can see the whole setup gold in the toggle mines makes it tricky to get the gold but not the toggle mines.
And compared to just normally beating this level, the challenges are way harder for basically every single level. This is a very good example. This is a very easy and early level, but the challenge is kinda famous and kinda hard. A lot of people know the name Prosumer.
That you can stack objects on top of themselves, like have a toggle mine underneath the gold, and that's a very common mechanic in this game.
Yeah,
so you have to touch the gold, which has a bit bigger just activation box than the toggle mine.
Right. And the difference is very small.
So this one's kind of like a meme, I suppose.
Yeah,
Almost.
A lot of people have serious
Struggle a
problems
lot.
with this and remember it a lifetime.
It's like some of them are like puzzles, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot
that-
of them can be.
This one's also a puzzle. This one's kind of interesting.
Yeah, this might be a favorite of mine. You have to collect all of the ninjas, none of the gold, and if you pay attention, close attention, you can see there's switches at the top or on the underside of the boxes in the middle. And you need to collect all of those trapdoor switches.
Look at this. It's like lemmings.
Yeah. So this is one very valid strategy on how to deal with evil ninjas, is just go very slow and group them all up together.
Because they are never infinite. In some levels, there are stacks of up to 60 or 70 ninjas. I think that's basically the most I've ever seen. But they are never infinite, so you can always wait them out if you have the time and space.
Unless there's an infinite ninja spawner, that is.
There are no infinite spawners. It's always finite.
And I also wanted to ask, as far as these challenges, are they like individually timed, or are they also within episodes?
Individually, because you can access any level from the menu after you've beaten the episode.
Okay.
So you get 90 seconds for each one.
Okay, 90. Okay, cool.
So what are the particular challenges you would note for the lack of time?
This is one of them here. Behind every single mine, besides the one that's in the middle of a group of gold, is a trapdoor switch.
And that's probably the most precise thing ever in the game.
Yeah.
Yikes.
They are basically the same size. You have to be super precise.
And you have to do it without collecting any gold. So something of note, although each challenge is on its own as an individual thing, you can go and play in an episode and collect gold in time from earlier levels if you need extra time for something. However, actually just today, just a few hours ago, the last challenge in the game that had not been done in only the base 90 seconds was completed. So it has now been actually thoroughly proven that every single challenge in this game can be done with no extra time.
That's pretty intense.
And the thing is, for the secret levels, which also have challenges, they have no possibility to get extra time, so you have to do them in 90 seconds, which makes them some of the hardest challenges.
So this one that's going now, the challenge is just collect everything. All of the evil ninjas, all of the switches, the one toggle mine in the center, all of the gold.
If we haven't mentioned it before, but this purple enemy here is called the Death Ball, and they bounce off of each other, so that makes them the most unpredictable enemies in the game. Like up to when stacking up to 3-4 of them, they almost get random.
Yeah, it's one of the very few sources of RNG within this game.
Right. And this level, this particular challenge is, at least for me personally, my favorite in the game. Is you have to collect everything, which requires like 3 laps around the level. But after your first lap, there are stacked evil ninja spawners that you have to go 2 full laps with more ninjas cluttering the exact same length, the exact same route each time, but with more ninjas. Now, not just behind you, but also in front of you, as you'll see shortly. So this one,
you have to adjust the speed all the time.
Yeah, you have to essentially be, insanely consistent.
What the heck? Waiting for the ones to come at you.
Yeah.
So
you see this now. There's one more lap where there will be even more ninjas in my way.
the thing is, we're at 10 minutes in the video, and they are listed by difficulty, so this is still the first third. We'll be showing you the most extreme stuff in the game. It's kind of
the most extreme. There was a TV show like that.
I see. It's just about keeping the pacing there. That's pretty cool.
Right.
But these are literally 1 in 1,000 levels that absolutely require your best play. Like the upper end. There's a lot of challenges in the game that are doable a lot easier, and by basically everybody being able to all gold and beat all the normal levels.
Yeah, even what we're showing now is probably in the top 10 hardest percent of challenges.
Absolutely.
Is the green trail significant for anything?
No, it's cosmetic. It's a headband.
It's your ninja headband.
So you can equip that, or in the options,
Yes.
or okay.
Yeah.
So it
And
helps you remember where you were.
It's
some
good.
people say it's distracting.
I
There's
personally find it annoying.
there's headbands, as you'll see through the different clips, of different lengths and styles that you
yeah,
unlock.
but
That you just
I'd
unlock
say-
through playing the game.
that's how people distinguish themselves.
I would say there's one practical use for that scarf, but by the time you earn it, you won't likely need it in that regard, and that's tracking the evil ninja's path behind you.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a possibility.
But by
So,
the
for
time
example-
you get that, yeah, you're too good at the game, so that doesn't really matter.
That was pretty
This
nice
level-
one.
Super complexity. Oh fuck that one.
The level we saw before, or this level, for example, both were kind of hard on timing, and they were both done in 90 seconds. Even though you could play it in an episode and get extra time.
This one was painful enough to complete normally, and
Yeah.
this one is you have to do it in 90 seconds because that's the individual level timing.
This one, I think the majority of people do the challenge in episode mode to get extra time from previous levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the levels that was believed to be only possible in more than 90. For a
And
long time it was.
Right, and that was just because of a routing. It wasn't an execution-based impossible thought. It was just pure routing. This is, if you're familiar with the bridges of Königsberg, it's the routing is a problem similar to that.
So you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
get some of the mines without passing through the booster, which is kind of hard because you get boosted to double speed and need to jump at the right point or move at the right point to not fly through because you want to turn around. I think 2 or 3 times in a row in that level in one run.
Yeah, but noticing like the players are like bonking the head in certain ways and doing various things to manage their movement. Pretty nice.
So this level is, I think it's, for a lot of people, it's their favorite level. It's the final level in the M++ tab, and really showcases and teaches you how you need to deal with rockets.
Yes, some levels are learning. You could almost call them learning levels. They are perfect at teaching you how to deal with certain enemies, and this is the best one for the rocket by far.
Oh, nice. That misdirection was so long. It went for just a really far distance. I love it.
So how this works is the rocket always turns to the side it's that it can steer towards your ninja quicker. So usually it turns at the same rate, but when you move behind it, you can change its direction very quickly and basically make it move away from you because it decides to move left, right, change all the time. For example, there. And you need to use that to get the gold in the long corridors in this level.
Close calls at the end there. Oh wait, not the end yet.
This level is entirely close calls.
And it's also fairly long, so if you've not mastered that mechanic or that strategy, you cannot get all gold in this level. It's really a tough one.
The little missile that couldn't, or something.
Yeah.
This particular video also has the T++ challenge on this level, so the ninja was also getting all the mines, which makes it a bit longer.
Very impressive.
So you can see there's a little bit of just trying to manipulate and failing at least once to be able to get that last set of gold.
Nice. Got the cheat.
And there was a screenshot saved at the end.
It's not an achievement, it's a screenshot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Making a selfie.
Very memorable.
I was happy about that one.
So for this, you need to get all of the toggle mines, but avoid door switches. And so those spots where the mines are directly underneath the switches, a little bit hairy.
And there are a couple friends trying to make your life better.
Right, and if you paid attention, you would have noticed he did actually start with more than 90 seconds.
I noticed, some of the levels are named. What's the deal with that?
Every level is named.
Oh.
There is a setting in the options that you can turn on or off, showing level names while you play.
I see. That's nice. That's a nice touch to have them named.
Also, you can see in this level or in this run that the ninja's using a different headband, a double headband, which is shorter.
The double?
Yeah, not sure what
Oh
it's
boy,
called.
we have the time to talk about cosmetics.
It's a very important part of the game.
Yeah. What?
Not really.
Well, I'm just happy it exists. That's nice.
But there are some strong opinions, or fairly strong opinions.
Well, yeah, I already believe that Aquas was hesitating to get or not get the game before, but no, he saw the headbands and he's like, oh yeah, I'm for it.
Selling point for me.
Yeah, and you can, as shown by a lot of videos, you can change the color scheme so they all look different.
Oh, it's the irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, if you haven't decided on buying this game yet, that's the reason you want it.
Yeah, developers love puns, and the challenges are just as bad as the puns they make.
What are you talking about? The puns are amazing.
But the challenges are also amazing.
All right, you got me there.
Yeah, let's talk about hitboxes there because, well,
yeah, this is definitely one of the most famous challenges in the game.
Yeah, those are circles. You have so little room to move around in this. You can barely turn around. It's also one of the levels that's only beaten by maybe 15 people at most.
Jeez.
Probably less.
That's insane.
And what we can also mention here is that the challenges have been tested by the developers, so they are very good players themselves. They can do stuff like this.
Mario Maker style, you gotta beat the level to submit it.
Yeah.
Not for submitting your own user levels.
Oh yeah.
Actually.
God damn it.
So we haven't talked about that before, but NS has a level editor, and you can make your own levels and submit them also without beating them.
So people just make impossible levels and they're like, maybe you can beat it.
All the time. Or just put thousands of enemies and, I don't know, see the ninja explode in 1,000 ways.
Doesn't seem
So
like
this-
good quality.
This level is actually the first example of one of the secret levels. And you can definitely tell there's a big difference in philosophy of the level design. It's much more chaotic and just stuffed with things. And that's kind of the way the secret levels as a whole are, just in general.
And what's also interesting is that this level in particular and all the first secret levels, the first batch, are remakes of existing levels. So there's a level that basically looks the same like this, but turned around and with a lot less enemies and objects in general.
So I like that you kept in the actual first attempt.
I thought about removing it, but Mole was so proud about this one, I let it leave in.
So you might be thinking from what he's doing now that the challenge is to avoid all of the evil ninjas. That is not the case.
You're totally wrong.
The challenge is actually to collect all of the evil ninjas.
But as he has to go around a couple times and collect different stuff, he misses them at first to get them later.
Right. There's enough back and forth. Now there is also another challenge on this level that is avoid all of the evil ninjas.
I don't see any ninjas right now.
That's because he's been avoiding them.
The circles at the bottom, they are like 20 circles. Those are evil ninja spawners.
Oh, I see.
So you will see a lot of those soon. You just have to touch them to start the evil ninja spawning.
I see. There we go.
This runs by MoleTrooper. And now he starts getting the...
We already have the soundtrack.
And he was totally freaking out at this point.
Okay, so he's out of there.
This is the endgame stuff. One of the secret levels that you get by beating the rather hard levels and doing challenges on them.
And was this the last secret level to get a full 20-person leaderboard? Or not?
Either this or Overcrowded, I'd say.
So this is, I think, the first one, well no, I guess the second one we've shown that is insane precision.
Insane precision and absolute insane routing too. You basically have to play this for hours to figure out a way on which mines to get so you can even make a third round. Because yes, you have to go around 3 times. And the first thing is you need to collect all of the mines, not miss a single one. That's along the super difficult. And still not the worst. I mean, most people don't play this challenge.
Yeah, the majority of people don't even attempt this.
Yeah, it's only for people that really love the game and do like everything they can.
Gotta pause to think about what's going on here.
Yeah, just try and see what I have left. Does this even look, possible?
Also on the bottom, it showed a G-, and the other challenge, where you could see that he had done one challenge already and was attempting the second on this level.
And some of these jumps on the last lap, if done properly, you don't have any of those that are as tight, and you have 2 mines available.
Oh shit. The finish. The slide finish.
Just play it calm, cool, and collected.
And this kind of stuff takes hours, even for the best players. So before
we have 4 minutes left.
Yeah, before the release of the Ultimate Edition of the game, which was released, I think a year after release, or maybe 1.5 years. This was basically one of the last levels in the game, and also one of the hardest. But then they added new stuff to make it even longer and harder.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind that they've released this on modern consoles. Like, it's just that much of a kind of like a cult game, isn't it? For people, I'm guessing.
Sorry, it's a what kind of game?
Like a cult hit almost. Like, I mean, not like, I mean, a lot of people know it, I guess, it seems. I guess cult usually means not a lot of people do, but they love it.
Yeah. I think I'd call it more niche.
Okay.
To be fair, most of what we're showing today is extreme level, because that's what we thought this was about. This game has at least 1,000 levels that are easy to medium level that people can enjoy, and most people, or let's say a lot of people, don't even leave intro or get far into the tab before playing this for so long that they quit.
No, this is great.
It has a lot of content that is easy to. It's just had some of the hardest stuff ever.
A lot of stuff is like just pick up and play, like do
hard.
a few levels, and you get your end fixed for the day, type of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's actually very easy and nice to play, such that you can do just 1 or 2 episodes as a first completion when you have 15 minutes as a break for something.
Mm.
It's a very good game to do just in like bite-sized chunks like that. But as far as like people not getting very far, we actually have a community member who went through and ran through every episode in the game with a second account, specifically to get the lowest time possible, as close to 0 seconds, and running out of time.
A second account? You mean like, what do you mean by that exactly?
He bought the game a second time.
Okay. On like a different platform?
No, on Steam.
Oh, on Steam.
Yeah, because there's global leaderboards, but you can only see the top 20 for the high scores. And you can't scroll past that, but you can see scores around yours, and it still gives you your global ranking. So he went through the entire game, getting as close to 0 seconds as possible to get the lowest position on the leaderboard, to see how many people had completed at various points through the game. And there was less than half as many people beat the first episode in the N++ tab as had completed the first episode in intro.
So half of them quit before getting to the game.
Yeah, it's just how it is, right?
But this game has like 125 intro levels, which is almost more content than some games even have. So
Shots fired.
I mean, you can enjoy all of the game, all of intro for hours, and think you're done with the game, and notice that you haven't started yet.
Like, my current playtime of N++, let me look it up, is 120 hours, and I'm gonna say I basically know nothing yet. I only completed like 4, like all of the D levels, yeah. So, can we just do one little gift for the community and show the catch challenge? Like Elaminer was asking for it. It's a video that I showed on the channel recently.
As far as I'm concerned, that's why I haven't seen it myself yet either.
Yeah.
This
Sure.
Yeah, because this is the one that I talked about earlier that was the very last one to be done without any extra time.
Okay, Akos, you on it? I don't hear anything.
Oh, sorry, I had the mic muted for a moment. Yeah, I'm recropping it right now. Since
good. So
suddenly a YouTube video.
So could Elaminer please explain what's going to be going on in the following 4 minutes of this? So his name is Espy, right?
Yeah.
Her name. Her name. Yes.
Her. Sorry.
That's fine. You know, kind of. I guess the normal internet assumption is guy.
So last one to be done in 90 seconds. So as I understand, this one is the hardest challenge to complete without going into the episode mode and collecting the extra time before going into this level. So you only do it in 90 seconds.
This one, at least, you do have extra time because you collect all of the gold. Except it's exactly the same as that one other challenge, that every piece of gold has a toggle mine underneath it. And you cannot touch any of them.
Okay, so countdown?
Alrighty. 3, 2, 1, go.
Carry on. So I think this is like not even the first try of this.
Oh no, he's been working on this for days.
I don't know how many hours it took him, but probably at least.
No, I mean in the video.
10. The video is just a completion, as far as I understood it.
Oh, okay. So it's the whole attempt. So
yeah,
apparently you have to grab all the gold on top of that, just to ensure yourself the time for completion.
Yeah.
Right, and the challenge is to collect all the gold without any of the toggle mines.
So just completing this level in 90 seconds, it's no problem. It's always about challenges. And this challenge in particular is so long, and you can barely do it in 90 seconds because you don't get that much extra time by the gold.
And it's so many precise movements.
Yeah. Like we've shown, for example, Prosumer, which is grab gold above mine level. That had, I think, 20 pieces, and that was already a very, very hard one that was known. And this level has, I don't know, it's at least 70 or 80 of them. And you also have to get them quickly, because you have to do 3 more laps after the first to get even the switches to unlock the exit. So he needs to finish with, they say, 105 seconds. Finish the gold collection with 105 seconds. And he's currently at 115, so not that safe. And that's why nobody before has done this in 90 seconds.
I don't think anybody has even attempted it in 90 seconds before this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody has. Most people took like hundreds of extra time and beat it with minus over 100 seconds.
Ooh. That's a Mary
Got to go
Poppins
slightly
shit right
faster.
there.
Yeah, the thing is, on this third lap. Oh wait, no, he doesn't need the gold, right? Or does he?
Yes.
Oh, it's 5 laps. He still has to do 2 more after this. Oh boy. 5 laps, not 4. I was mistaken.
It gets worse.
So he needs to get back for that 1 gold piece. That's 1 single gold piece.
I can imagine how painful it is.
And he also has to collect the ninjas, so on his last lap he needs to go fast and can't retreat because of the ninjas following him.
You have to go fast the entire time, though. Oh, yeah. But now with the pursuer.
But at least there's only 1 ninja this time.
Oh, hi, Espy.
He
Showing
says
up for
it
the
killed his soul.
Showing up for the run.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is possibly if you do it with no extra time, that's definitely the hardest challenge in the game.
Lol.
Probably, yeah.
So, time to go for our last section, and this is the high scoring, the thing the shmup community loves the most. So you can score in this game.
Right. So the score that goes onto the leaderboards it's very simple. It's just whatever time is left on your timer bar when you finish the level or the episode.
And as
So
the time's
there are
increased by
separate-
gold, you basically have to collect all or as much as gold that's giving you an advantage.
So if taking a gold takes more than 2 seconds, it's disadvantage, and you just skip it.
Right. That does
That's-
that does not happen very often in N++. On the old Flash version 1.4, it was much more common. And it's still somewhat in the legacy levels, which are it's an entire tab of 600 levels from all of the previous versions of the game. 1.4, N+, and V2, which is a newer Flash version that came out in 2013.
So all of the high scoring runs are done by xela, right?
Yeah.
That we're
Okay,
showing,
good.
yes.
So apparently there are 2 ways to score run. First is to like track the score. Track the score, yeah, either for the entire episode or for an individual level. Both
Right.
of those have leaderboards.
Dang.
Yeah,
Inside
both of
the
those
game.
have leaderboards. But the level leaderboard is more competitive by far because high scoring a single level is easier than high scoring 5 levels in a row.
Yeah, well, of course, it's just like in speedrunning where the individual levels, because the level chunks are smaller and you
Yeah.
get to retry them more efficiently. So let's go on with the first video.
So it says the high scoring 1 SUE64, correct? Is that what we're starting with
Yeah.
here?
Right.
Okay. Always good
The
to be on the same page.
SUE64 is the level name. The level number.
Alrighty then, I shall count us down here. 3, 2, 1, go.
So these are basically 3 levels that we are watching.
Yeah, this is the first one. I just took a random level that I liked. That's how this goes. And started high scoring. Actually, right now I'm watching the Zeros run, which is 193.183.
Yeah, for context, the high score leaderboard does not count from 1, it counts from 0, as the programmers do.
Yeah. So the best position is the zeros, and then you have 1, 2, 3 up to 19. So it's the top 20. Yeah, like we said, every single gold piece gives you 2 seconds. In individual level high scoring, like this is, you start with 90, and you just try to finish with the highest time possible. So for a rather short, or let's say medium length level like this, you try to optimize as much as you can. So sometimes there are things that limit your speed, like the drones at the end on this level. So basically you have to try to skip the last drone as close as possible. Which is I think the second from the left on the top left. As the drone is, I think, going up or coming. No, it's going up, and you have to jump below it. So you're limited on time, which means you need to sometimes you need to slow down to get past it, because otherwise it would just kill you.
Rare footage of multiple deaths in a row in this episode.
Yeah, I'll be dying all the time here. That's the point of high scoring. You die until you beat it.
You die until you get it perfect.
Yeah. This is also
Right.
a level where I take zeros. live. No, not live, but in this recording. So you can
That's
basically
quite nice.
watch the whole process. I started by watching the video, and then I just attempted it until I had it.
So, just to remind you, these 3 recordings you have done specifically after we asked you to provide footage, right?
Yeah.
So you just went on and did 04 STG Weekly. that deserves an applause for our crew.
Yeah.
You missed one.
Yeah, exclusive content.
Oh, he's back at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a high scorer by heart, so... Oh, I showed the timing there, but didn't do it very long. I think I'll show it longer when I have it or when I get close, I don't remember.
That fresh exclusive footage hype.
The way the game and the high scores work, it means that there are so many levels, so you... Oh, there I have become second. You have so many levels that the individual levels to take are not absolutely optimized. Some of them are, a lot of them actually, but you always find levels that are not optimized to the limit.
So you could like go on like a hunt almost for levels to improve and whatnot.
Yeah, and that also means that that basically everyone has a chance to take zeros if they are dedicated enough. In theory, at least.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where even if you can't execute the current 0th route, you can still find some sort of innovation to the route to improve it and make it more efficient and faster, and take the top score that way.
Counted are only the top 20. You can absolutely score like place 100 and it will tell you so after finishing, and on your personal board I think this scores around mine or something like that. But visible is only the top 20. That has been since the days of the first N and has almost always stayed except for NV2, which I don't think we've talked about, have we?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it was an update of the original N 1.4, basically the same game, just an update, but it changed it completely, and in many people's opinions wasn't that great because they removed most tricks, like corner jumps were no longer possible. That basically made it less enjoyable.
Yeah, it's got a weird status where those of us who played before V2 was released don't like it, and those that started with V2 like that one better than 1.4 or N++.
Yeah. To be fair, a lot of people love V2. I just personally don't.
Yeah, I feel the same way about it. But I definitely just wanted to put it out there that it's still a very popular version, and it also definitely has a very big plus on it, being that it is free, while N++ is not free.
So there I got a 1.5, which is not zeros yet, it's 2 frames behind. So basically the game runs in 60 FPS, which means that you get scores by 0.163 intervals. No, 0.0163. No, 0.0167. That's it. Now I get it.
It's 1/60th of a second. You can do the conversion yourself.
Yeah, just 1/60th of a second. And so there's it's possible to be less than that different on timing, so you just get the same timing because of the graphics and the game in general, which is a vector rendering. You can have spaces that are tinier than a pixel. So basically you can be faster by less than a frame and still get the same time. it's at least possible.
And in fact, since this is all vector graphics, which was again just like the physics engine was an original creation by MetaNet Software, so is the vector graphics. This is their own vector graphics engine.
That's pretty cool. So, in what ways do you like this level?
Do I like it? Was that your question? I didn't hear it.
In what ways do you like it? He asked.
Do I like
what
it?
Drove you to choose that specific level for the show?
That's a good question. Why did I choose that one? I should probably not say I just randomly picked one and the second I checked was the one I took. That's probably a better answer. Let me see.
Making it up on the fly. But yeah,
No,
like
it's.
he gets
I mean,
it in.
it is an enjoyable level. Sometimes limited timings, like the drone on this one, can be annoying. But I think the bottom half of the level is really enjoyable.
Yeah.
I really like that part.
You say it's an enjoyable level. I say it's got too many drones. It's terrible.
Yeah, you don't like drones, I know.
Yeah, but that's just me. Drones are my mortal enemy.
Also, we've shown you the tricks before. I use a couple here. For example, a triple jump on the slope in the middle near the exit. I've been doing it, I think, every run now. Been fairly consistent in this recording. It is also necessary to get up high enough. So if you, for example, cannot do that triple jump, you could never contest this run ever. I don't think it's possible. So in high scoring, tricks are absolutely necessary, especially in short levels. And that requires like a mastery of the physics or the game in general.
Become the ninja. Eat gold for breakfast.
Nah. And in N++, usually the gold is near and rich enough so that it makes sense to collect all the gold in probably 98% of the levels. Maybe more.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to go on a diet and not collect gold.
Yeah. And I mean, the
do a
ninja is
workout, lose your weight as fast as possible.
the ninja's pretty small already, pretty slim.
Yeah, he really did go on a diet compared to the previous version.
Talking about the high scores in general, again, every version has its own high scores, like normal N, NV2, N+, and N++. They all have different high scores. And also N++ is on different platforms like PS4, PC, Mac, Switch,
Xbox One.
Xbox One, right? They all also have different high scores. They share the same levels and user levels too, but not the high scores.
Okay, we have to pay attention to this one because we might actually see the winning run.
Yeah,
right now.
Donkey Kong kill screen coming up.
Yeah, I think this is the run that beats it. So watch out.
Oh, and
look at the drone now.
The loop-de-loop.
Oh,
You never did that loop in there before.
Yeah.
By a single frame.
Yeah.
Okay. That was really clutchy.
Yeah, that was good.
So, second video, countdown.
Alright, give me a moment. There's high scoring 3.
No,
no,
it's
2.
2? Uh-oh.
The number is the order in that.
I may have missed the download on this one. Give me a moment.
Oh.
I think I'll be able to stream it. Let's see here.
Okay, so we can talk some stuff then.
Yeah, so we haven't really mentioned the user levels at all, really. And yeah, so there's a built-in level editor that you can make your own levels and publish them so anybody can see them. And as Xela mentioned, when you publish a level, no matter what platform you made it on, whether it's on Steam, PS4, Switch, Xbox One, it gets published so that all platforms can see it and play it.
That's neat.
But the leaderboards, they also have leaderboards built in, but those are only platform specific. So user level sharing is cross-platform, but not high scoring and leaderboards.
All right, I pulled it up. So
Okay, good countdown.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go.
Also, what that means that Golf just said is that the different platforms have different
Leaderboards?
like a different God, I hit my headset, sorry, a different level of high score boards. So for example, the PC leaderboards are generally the best, I think, on every single level. I mean on average, not the zero score. But the others are less competitive. For example, Switch, which was released rather recently, not even a year ago, has obviously worse leaderboards than PC and PS4 and so on.
So one interesting thing to note, we've talked about the hitboxes before and how they're all circles. That is true except for the types of lasers that are in the bottom right. Those lasers actually use the physical Ninja Ragdoll as their hitbox for whether you live or die.
And that makes high scoring with these lasers a nightmare.
Yes.
Because you can basically never be sure if your score is perfect. Even if it looks perfect, it might not be.
Because maybe you can get a different spot in the running animation that lets you get there one frame.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For example, your arm is not in front when you run through, and bam, you have a new frame. That has happened way too often for my taste.
It's crazy how optimized these are. It doesn't, like, without having played the game, it's hard to understand how optimized they are.
Yeah, there are some levels where you basically have to run to the exit or do a simple jump, and there are lasers in front, so you have to really perfect your movement according to the laser, which is so weird.
And it's one of the few things that, at least personally, makes me upset when you're trying to high score a level like that and you die to the laser in front of the exit, but the 0th score actually finishes before you die. They physically get further, through, but or earlier in the laser cycle, but they don't die because their animation was in a different spot.
I mean, if 80% of your body has fallen through the exit, does it really count as victory?
Yeah, it does. You just need to touch the exit. What happens afterwards is completely irrelevant.
Hitting the exit gives you some sort of an immunity, really.
Yeah, and what we haven't talked about yet is that in the community we have tools to practically collect the leaderboards for every single episode and level and add them together to give something like a scoreboard for the entirety of the game, or a ranking more like. And we've been doing that for the original since, I don't know, 50 years ago, and for M++2.
Yeah.
So we have something like a history of what the players had in terms of the records. Which is the neat thing for the high scoring community.
Yeah, it really gives a competition aspect beyond just single levels or episodes, beyond just the actual leaderboards themselves. And we have like several words are just not coming to me right now. This is a terrible time for that to happen. We have several like metrics that we use, whether it's just a straight number of how many zeros you have, which is a very limited competition. There's one that's somewhat more casual, that is just how many top 20 scores do you have.
Yeah.
We do a ranking of that, since the global leaderboard only shows the top 20.
Yeah.
And then we have like a point system where if you're higher up on the leaderboard, you get more points for that leaderboard. And
so they have different levels of competitivity.
Right.
That's
so with
cool.
that one, you can have somebody who high scores just about everything, but is always in the bottom 5 on the leaderboard, and they can be lower in the points ranking than somebody that has only half the scores, but they're all top 5.
So, for example, there are a couple people that are not going for the zeros, which are the best scores, but only for the top 20, and have amassed a top 20 count that is higher than everybody else's, but are usually not known for be great or super high scorers. They just played every top 20 level with a top 20 score, and because there's this sheer amount of levels,
nobody else has been able to get to all of them yet.
Yeah, they can just get by. And the person with the most zeros or records at one point in time has been called or termed the Grand Master at that time. That's a title that has switched hands only like a couple times in the original N and only very few times in N++.
Yeah.
Basically, very rarely changing.
Pretty badass.
And unfortunately, our friend here, Xela, has lost that title in N++.
And now I cry myself to sleep.
But do you N++ in your dreams?
I'm not. I don't recall that in particular, but I might have.
Would you believe if I said no?
Well, do Android ninjas dream of electric drones?
God damn it.
Who knows? Yeah, what we can say about high scoring too is that it often comes down to maximizing the point in time in which something can happen. For example, if you take the beginning of this level, you want to fall down as quickly as possible. So in the very beginning, like the first frames, I do a tiny wall jump on the right, even though there's no real wall. It's more like a curved jump, kind of strange, to like fall down right besides the corners without hitting them. Because if I would hit the corners, I would be slowed down a tiny bit, and that's enough for the drone to catch me. You can see this one mini drone that is moving very close to my head when I fall down. So if I do like the tiniest mistake, I cannot pass that drone. So it often comes down to this getting the earliest point in which something is possible to be done.
As far as the routing goes.
For example, imagine we have a level where there's a long floor you're running, and then you need to fall down. You would be jumping way before the floor, so you get maximum height and fall down, accelerate downwards as early as you can. So you would be falling down exactly the second the floor ends, to be as low as possible or fall down as quickly as possible. And that kind of strategy is like the core of high scoring in this game.
Right, cutting corners as close as possible as you can get, really conserving your momentum, getting.
It's almost as if you're playing a racing game.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, in the racing game, you usually preserve speed. You try to get a high speed. In this game, it's not about the speed in general, because you can pretty quickly get high speed. For example, in this level, I'm usually at top speed. But it's you move at the earliest point in time that you can, and you maximize your efficiency that way. For example, with the exit switch on the bottom right, I jump, or I try to jump as early as possible so I can get that and get as quickly as possible on the curved slope left to it.
And you can also see at the very top, hitting jump right at the apex where the curve starts, which is actually the last point that you can get a wall jump up there. But that puts your momentum in such a direction that you get propelled along the curve, and it gives you extra momentum by slinging you around and going down.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about the sling. That's cool.
Yeah, you basically convert your upwards jump momentum by just kind of riding the half pipe almost,
Right.
and pushing you downwards from your jump momentum.
That's actually not exactly right, as I'm doing double jump there, but it's often looking the same or not working out like in the last runs.
Oh, I see. I see the extra jump now.
Oh, I was talking at the very end, the fall to the exit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true for that part.
Yeah, I was wondering if you did a double jump at the bottom left.
But as I have limited momentum when I go up, I often jump earlier than at the top point, as you said, because it's just faster to drop down earlier. If I waited longer with the jump, I would have more speed, but I would have wasted more time. And with that low speed, it's probably better to jump earlier.
So there's always just this, little bit of risk and reward for, do you try and get more speed, more absolute speed, or a shorter travel distance?
The hardest point of this level was the exit switch part, actually, because the jump on the sloped curve after getting the exit switch, that has, like, you could say dozens of different versions where it matters where exactly you hit it and how you hit it. There's like tons of different ways. There's a couple good ones, and most of them are just shit. You're really slow. So that's why I'm trying this all time. And also a big problem in this level in particular is the from the right gold badge, the bottom right gold. Because when I go up, I keep missing that one. And I need to get it while going up.
I see.
Which in turn requires me to hit a bit right after doing the wall jump next to it, but hitting left immediately again. So I just barely get it and can jump on the left again.
I see you trying to do it.
It's kind of very precise. And I keep missing that all the time.
Yeah, that's one of the things that is an added step of difficulty between high scoring to speedrunning. Speedrunning, you don't really care about if you collect the gold or not. You just want to finish the level.
Speedrunning in general is a lot easier on the single levels because you have to do so many in a short time. High scoring really gets down to play a level for hours, or in this case 14 minutes or whatever, how long you need.
Okay, and the video ends soon, so we have to pay attention for the winning run now.
Yeah, pay good attention.
Okay.
That was the 0.7. That would have been really good if I missed the gold. So this should be the winning run, as you call it.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh.
Oh!
Oh!
It's only 0.7. This would have taken quite a while longer.
Wait, that was a tie with a second there?
Yeah, with Yeah, with first,
Yeah, tie with first.
which
Oh,
is
tie
the
with
second.
first, which is also second.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
so
I didn't take
Oh,
that.
oh yeah, zeroth, right? That's right.
okay, the countdown for the last one then.
Alrighty, give a moment.
Yeah.
This is our last video, eh?
Yes, absolutely.
Alright.
It's kind of long. So during it, we just sum up our thoughts about the game and talk about any stuff that we wanted to take earlier.
Okay, we're not gonna watch all this then, probably.
Yeah, we can.
What
finish
about
that.
from 15 minutes?
Alright, we'll go to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
And we'll sum up things here about this particular stage and the episode. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun checking out the game
Okay.
so far. Okay, so Championship Load Runner is the name of this one, from 15 minutes flat. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Important thing about this level is that Load Runner is actually one of favorite platformers of Raigan, creators of the game, and like for some other platformers, they like his Imihara Kawase. That one I also really want to cover. From modern was Spelunky, Celeste, VVVVVV. And of course, like Mario Brothers.
Oh, and if we haven't really talked about it, this game was made by Metadata Software. Have we even said that before?
Yeah, we
I
did.
think so, yeah.
Okay, good.
They're
yeah.
based out of Toronto.
Toronto,
Actually.
cool.
So what's your tactic on this level?
Oh, it has every move is a tactic if you want. Like every move is something.
This
really-
level is probably interesting to analyze because there's so much just deviating from the norm with the rocket manipulations, and so it's not so static compared to most of the levels.
I probably could talk an hour about this high school level alone. By the way, we've seen this level before in the challenge section where we did the everything challenge.
Yeah, so we got an eye on it, but this time it has a different color scheme. Well,
Yeah, right. This is, by the way, the color scheme that I always lose. I forgot to change it for the high scoring part. And I died. Look at that. Was a good run too.
shame.
You can see the small pausing where I thought, oh damn, this could have been zeros, or at least close. So this is one of the hardest levels to high score ever.
Understandably so.
In theory, you want to move in a way that you never have to slow down for the rocket, which is almost possible. In a good run, I slowed down for maybe, I don't know exactly, but maybe 5 seconds in total in the current high score on this. So it's highly optimized, and also, yeah, this is a waiting section. The problem is that you need to get the rocket in ways that it's never in your way. So only specific movements of the rocket are possible.
Oh man. So close.
Yeah, like I said when we did this in the challenge video or challenge section, this is basically close calls the level.
Yeah, this.
So, what are your tools to manipulate the rocket here? Like your options, what are you thinking during such attempt?
So there's a lot of options and a lot of considerations. For example, one of the most important is, are you running from the rocket or are you dodging the rocket by going over or under it? I'm usually going over or under. That's the harder, more advanced, but more effective technique usually. But it's also more dangerous. Also, I'll be using a lot of wait for the rocket, then move exactly very close to it, behind it, so it flies away for a long time. Right now, for example, I made it specifically hit the top exit, the top wall, so I get enough time to move in there. That's a very important trick I do there. On that part, for example, I jumped over the one way to never hit it, so I can fall down more quickly, which is also kind of precise jump. And here I do basically the same, jumping through there. So it's so the rocket in the forms. It's 176.
Okay. So.
And 189 is the current high score. The guys above are not real runs.
How many hours you spent on this level in total? Is there a rough estimate?
For high scoring, maybe 5.
5 hours. Yeah, well, for level. Yeah, considering it's one level in a game with like thousands and thousands of levels, yeah, that's pretty huge.
It is for sure the level that I've high scored the most. I also got back to it a couple times.
Damn.
So I don't think I've high scored many levels more than an hour, and very, very few more than 2 hours.
So how do you feel about the potential of the game? Like, how well do you think the routes are developed at the moment?
For all levels in general?
Yeah, on Orange.
Not very great. It's been only 4 years, no, 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years for the Steam version.
And the Ultimate release was
about a year after the Steam release.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's still pretty fresh game.
It's probably good. It's probably good to mention the high score boards for the original N, and for that matter, it was 2004 that people started high scoring, and in 2010-ish, a high scorer came that's currently the Grandmaster by the name of Eddie, and
what's a Grandmaster?
That's the person with the most records.
Ah, fair enough.
And he has almost all of the original levels to this day, and he took all of those like 8 years later, and they were far better far better done than the levels for this game, because there were only 500 and not 2,000 levels, and it was a way longer time. And he still took basically every single level. At that time, I had half the levels, and he got me down to, I think, 2.
Yeah, and to put it a little bit into perspective, the original 1.4 had 600 leaderboards. It had 500 levels, 100 episodes, and each of those had their own board, just like in N++. And Eddie had 500 zeros out of 600.
So he had more than 80% himself, and all the other players had less than 20%.
That's impressive.
And that happened on boards that were way, way more optimized. Or let's say morally played. There's a lot to optimize in this game, so they will never be really optimized, not with as many as there are here.
Yeah, sure. So if you are a really competitive gamer, there's still some potential in the game, quite some.
Yes.
To sink your hours into?
A lot. But it gets harder and harder, of course.
Okay, and we have to close now in about some minutes, so what are your finishing thoughts about the game, the community, just what would you recommend for the new players in particular, and so on?
Golf?
But I think as far as the community goes, this is probably one of the best out there.
You say that now.
Well,
After this episode, everything will be ruined.
Pause buffering, cheating.
Way more cheaters. Way more. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No, it's really a
That's awesome. Though.
great community. I think that might possibly, I don't know how related it is, but the developers themselves are like genuinely the nicest people I think I've ever met.
So they're active in the community with everyone as well.
They're fairly active. I'd say they're
keep in touch.
Much more active than would be expected for a game that's been released 4 years ago.
Yeah, some of the nicest people that have created some of the deadliest levels in video gaming.
Right.
So
just like I personally went up to Toronto a couple years ago and met them, and yeah, they are. If you ever follow anything they do on social media,
you met them and survived.
Yes, I actually, my claim to fame is I did a 1v1 versus Raigan in race mode, and he lost.
Oh shit.
Well, that was recorded on Twitch, if I recall correctly, right? Do
yes.
we have the words of that?
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and they edited a video and put it up on YouTube.
It was close though.
Titled as an epic showdown.
Sure, we can link that later.
Because like as we talked about earlier, they beat all the levels that are in the game, so yeah, they're good, huh?
Right, and not just beat all the levels. They did testing on every single challenge.
Yeah, it's so intense.
To make sure that they were possible. Some of them they haven't necessarily done every single challenge in full start to finish. They did use some like save states in like their editor tools that are not available for anybody else. But they have done everything in the game.
So for my closing remarks, basically this game, if you get to like the physics, the kind of inertia, momentum and all that, it's really great to move around and it can really be a lot of fun. You also have enough easy levels to just enjoy it for as long as you want and not deal with this super crazy stuff that we kind of showed here.
Yeah, and we also count the user-made levels as well. There are enough of those.
Yeah, right. You can create your own levels and stuff like that. And we as a community sometimes play together via Parsec, which is kind of fun too. I mean, race and co-op. So it's not a bad game to get into. It's really fun, but most people don't really give it a second try or even a first try because it looks so simple. But that's actually its biggest appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this level is one of the more complex ones
really
we
good.
see.
Yeah, and with this level, you can describe it to somebody and say, "Oh, it's a maze of platforms that you can stand on, and there's one rocket that follows you." And you think, "Oh, what a boring level." And then you watch this, you play it yourself, you watch something like this, and you realize it's so much more than that.
I mean, the game, just this level itself, it was inspired by Load Runner, which is 1984 or even 83 arcade game. Like, it's an ancient one from the Golden Age.
Has anyone ever mentioned that this game could have like influenced something like Super Meat Boy or something like that?
It did influence Celeste edition of particular sections of the game, put it that way, like Evil Ninjas.
I've heard that I think it's the Xbox version of Super Meat Boy. One of the like character unlockables you can get is the N Ninja.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's badass.
Also, Super Meat Boy was partly inspired by the original N.
Yeah, I definitely can see kind of some of the similarities. But then
Yeah,
Meat Boy
for-
had like kind of almost like more traps and stuff. It seemed.
Time for the
Faster
winning run.
gameplay. Not as much
Yeah.
floatiness.
I'm gonna spoil you right away. There's no winning run. This would take hours.
Oh no! Last 15 seconds.
But this is the best run, at least, out of this section.
No, I
we
don't
saw some
think
good
so.
ones, I think.
I don't even.
Oh, we got you baited.
I don't even finish. No, but seriously, this level is. I took a lot of time, put a lot of time into it.
Yeah, what a letdown. So
can't win them all. You can't win all 2,000. Some of them. Too many.
So okay, we've got this N++, a very deep recent platformer game that has plenty of various mechanics and difficulty of the levels and layers of abstractions on top of them. So everyone can enjoy it for a really long period of time, and that's pretty much it. Minimalistic game. That's definitely the kind that I would appreciate more of. And thanks for the community for providing us the time, the runs, the opportunity to talk about it, discuss the levels, the skill cap involved, which is pretty insane. And see you later.
Yeah, had no idea coming into this that the community was so well established and that so much history was behind it and whatnot. So that's very cool to see for sure. Thanks again, guys, and that'll be it for Awesome Game Replays episode 30.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Cheers.